The CEO of United Healthcare was gunned down, as I'm sure most of you have heard by now. And it happened this morning around 6:30 or a little after 6:30 a.m. And, I don't know much about the guy, Brian Thompson. I just know that he was 50 years old. I own some United Healthcare stock. It's a very lucrative business, very lucrative company. And I actually believe from some of the reports that I read that he was headed to some type of investor or, shareholder meeting. So I don't know, but let's take a look at the news because I just find it interesting. So here we are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Vladimir Dutit. We're going to begin with some breaking news this morning. The United Healthcare CEO was shot and killed outside a New York City Hilton hotel this morning. This is what we know. This happened just after 7 a.m. in Midtown Manhattan. 50-year-old Brian Williams is the victim. Now, sources tell CBS News they believe this was a targeted attack. CBS News' crime and public safety unit coordinating producer Anna Schechter is following this very closely, and she's joining me now to talk about this as we look at some pictures that are coming into the broadcast center from the scene in Midtown Manhattan. Anna, what more can you tell us at this time?
Well, we know that Brian Thompson, he's 50 years old. He was outside of the hotel on 6th Avenue, shot in the chest by a suspect who was wearing a black mask. Police have described him as wearing sneakers and a jacket and a backpack, and he fled east on 6th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, and there have been no arrests, so police are searching for that suspect. Meanwhile, the victim, the CEO of United Healthcare, was taken to a nearby hospital, and he died of the gunshot wound to his chest. And so we are waiting for more details. We're watching very closely. We have a team in Midtown talking to potential witnesses, and we're gathering more information, and we'll bring it to you as soon as we have it.
Yeah, I know, Anna, these details are fast-moving because this just happened just a couple of hours ago. I know that we're also expecting a press conference from officials later this morning. So let me bring in Mike Alcazar. He's a former NYPD detective, and he's also an adjunct professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Mike, I think a lot of people who are just waking up to catch this breaking news are going to say to themselves, look, this is Midtown Manhattan. This is the center of the busiest, most crowded city in America. How does someone shoot a person in broad daylight with all the gridlock, with all the traffic, with all the people that are milling about in front of that hotel, 6th Avenue? It's called Avenue of the Americas because it is literally the center of America some days. And how does that suspect get away so easily?
Well, this morning, as you can imagine, every part probably is going to work. It's a very dense, city, so it's easy to secrete yourself amongst the New Yorkers just going about their regular work, going to work, doing their business. So I'm confident that there's probably tons of video surveillance that my colleagues are recovering right now so that they can help identify this suspect. As far as leaving, there's so many ways to leave. I heard reports that he got on a bike. He could have taken off on a bike. He could have got down on a subway. Again, everything's going to be covered on video. So I wouldn't be surprised if they already have surveillance recorded and they're quick. They're going to identify him. I bet you they'll identify him by the end of the day.
Yeah, I think that the point that you're making there, Mike, is an excellent one. And I wanted to set the scene for people who are not from the New York City area, because if you're living out in another part of the country, that's what you're thinking. Wow, it's so crowded there. There's so many people. How does something like this happen in broad daylight? The point that you're making is that not only will there be dozens of eyewitnesses, there are also cameras everywhere in Midtown Manhattan, and in fact all over New York City. So wherever this suspect would have gotten on a bike to get away, presumably you probably have cameras tracking his egress to wherever he ultimately ends up.
Absolutely. I mean, that's investigation 101. We're going to interview all the witnesses, and I'm sure there was a million witnesses there. And then we're going to canvass for video before the suspect arrived there, how he left, where he exited, and we're going to carefully track down his path of escape, his flight. And again, like I said, I'm confident that they're going to get so much surveillance video footage of this guy, his face with the mask, without the mask, and also other witnesses that might have seen him. You know, New Yorkers are good for the police because I wouldn't be surprised if somebody even followed this guy and then later on come forward and give information to the detectives.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Anna, let me ask you about the details as far as the event that this gentleman was attending. There are reports that this suspect waited for quite some time. We don't know how long, but certainly more than 5 minutes before he opened fire on this gentleman. What do we know about the event, and how does the investigation change because this is such a high-profile individual?
That's right. So this was an investor conference, and so the CEO of United Healthcare is going to be a key person, a very high-profile person at this event. There would have been advertisements where a pool of people in this industry, in the insurance industry, would have known that he was going to be attending the conference and likely speaking at the conference. And so that's a very high-profile target. In some ways, it makes it easier of a target for an assassin, and this does appear to be an assassination, according to our sources in the New York City Police Department. So the event was going to be an all-day event. It's unclear if he was actually staying at the hotel, but the event was being held at the the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan, as you just heard. This is rife with people, but you know what? In this district, and I think people forget this because homicide numbers are down across the city, but in the theater district, in that precinct that includes theater district and Rockefeller Center, guess what? Murders have been up. Now, this is something different. This is high profile, this is targeted, and so the investigation is much more robust. You're going to have so many resources thrown at this immediately. That process has already kicked in. Of course, you have an assassin on the loose, so this is very fast moving, unfolding minute by minute. We're expecting a 12 noon Eastern time presser with the New York City Police Department, so we hope to learn more at that press conference, but for now we have a description of the suspect. We know which way he was headed, and as we just heard, we're collecting surveillance video, and that is being reviewed right now. Obviously, his family has been notified, saw the news, hopefully was notified by the hospital before that hit the news. That's a chain of events that tends to happen when you have a high-profile person like this. You know, the events can get away from the normal protocol where the family is notified first before it hits the news. This happened at 6:45 a.m., so that was prime commuting time. That's a lot of people milling around, getting to and from work, a lot of businesses in this area, also a lot of tourists. You have millions of people from around the world that descend on exactly this neighborhood, hundreds of people staying in that very hotel. So it is a brazen attack. The fact that they could carry it out in broad daylight on the streets of New York City is shocking, but New Yorkers have felt a certain increase in violent crime in neighborhoods recently, like the Upper West and Upper East Side. We've seen stabbings.
Jesus Christ. She used the word brazen, and that's exactly my thoughts, because in order to be able to pull this off, you got to be, hey, listen, whoever did this was a real, true assassin on some Jason Bourne type level shit. They said he had a mask. They said he was masked up. They said that he had his identity pretty much concealed. All you could see from the stance that I saw and the picture that I saw was his clearly white hands, which is how they know that it's a white male that did this. Let me see if I can pull up something else right quick. Yeah, here we go. Here's the picture of the assassin right there. You can see him. He's clearly a white man. You can see the stance. He clearly has some type of experience shooting a gun. That stance right there is a very common shooting stance. If you've ever been to the range, if you've ever taken a course in gun safety, and they teach you about the different stances that you take when you are preparing to take aim at a target, and this is definitely one of the stances that you would take. Again, Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, not much known at this juncture. I don't even know how many times he was shot in the chest. I thought I read that he was shot maybe twice in the chest, maybe like a double tap type of situation. I'm not sure. Don't get me to lying on this app, but this is definitely something that I find interesting. It's obvious that it was an assassination, clear as day. For what purpose, I don't know. He was headed to an investor meeting. I don't even know how long he's been in the position. Apparently, he's been with the company, though, since 2004. So why you wait till 20 years later to assassinate this guy, who knows? But you can best believe that with all the cameras around New York City, that they will have an easy trail, basically, to find out where exactly this dude went. And like my man said, they'll probably have an answer and an apprehension by end of day. I would be very, very surprised if this goes unsolved to the end of the week, honestly. But I'm pretty sure you guys are going to hear from New York Mayor Adams over there, who is probably shuffling around his desk somewhere trying to figure out what the hell he's going to say. But I definitely will be covering this as we go forward. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments. It's absolutely insane. Sounds like something straight out of a movie. But, you know, they say truth is stranger than fiction sometimes. So let me know what y'all think, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.